For this third and final video on glossiness, I'll show you where all this studying has been leading, painting imaginary objects. So here you can see I've drawn an abstract 3D object to test out the material. But I want the material to match the one in my reference. So over the course of this video, I'll be adding the specular highlight. When you take a look at these motorcycle gas tank photos that I found on eBay, you obviously wouldn't describe them as simply painted. You'd probably talk about the particular luster of the finish. How shiny is the clear coat? How tight is that specular highlight? What color is the specular highlight? These are the sorts of critical details that will help the materials in your illustrations come to life. And as a side note, eBay auction photos are a great source for reference images. Like in the previous video, I'll be breaking down the highlight into its base components and make each on its own layer. This allows me to have better craftsmanship, but also allows me to consider each component separately. So first off, I'm going to start with the low strength diffused glow. And for this, I'll be using a normal layer and the soft round brush. So I'm going to paint in that soft glow. Erasing with the soft eraser where I don't need it. In the next layer, I'll begin to represent the metal flake in the paint. And for this, I'll be using a randomized scatter brush and set the layer to color dodge blending mode. And for this, I'll be using a more saturated color, so I'll just sample from the pink that's already there. Making sure the layer mode is set to color dodge. I'll begin to paint in the flaked metal. And even though technically this flake is everywhere, it works best if you only paint it near the highlight and let the imagination fill in the rest. As I get closer to that concentrated core of the highlight, it's going to get more dense. So for this, I'll be shrinking down that same scattered randomized brush, and I'll paint with a normal or opaque layer with white. So here I'm using a smaller brush, and it's got a tighter clustering. Erasing away where I don't need it. Finally, I'm going to do the brightest and most dense portion of the highlight. This is the primary highlight. And I'm going to use the soft round brush set to a very small diameter and pure white. So I'll make a new layer, set to normal blending mode, and I'll paint in this white band. And here where the cylinder becomes a straight form, I'll use the click, shift click to make sure I get a very straight line. And maybe I'll adjust it a little bit with the move tool. Erasing away what I don't want. So there you go. I've been very specific with the material, thinking carefully about how the specular highlight relates to my reference. Because real-world materials have wonderful character and vitality, and they can help you tell a story. So it's well worth doing studies like this one in order to understand them better. Ultimately, when it comes to your next illustration, doing a couple material sketches ahead of time just might help you work out a crucial component of your design. Are there any material studies that you guys like to do? I'd love to hear about them in the comments. Thanks for watching.